Okay, hello, my friends. I hope you are all doing well. Welcome back to my channel, English Comfort Zone, with me, teacher Jalila Abdussalam. I hope you will enjoy my lesson. Again, we are going to discuss new grammar item, that is the past simple or the simple past tense. So, welcome to my English Comfort Zone. Uh, I hope you will enjoy my lesson. I hope you will be satisfied and pleased with me at the very end of the lesson. So please subscribe to my channel and like my video. I do need your support. Um, this is a grammar approach, the simple past tense, an easy, intensive, complete approach from third intermediate to university level. So this is the table of contents. These are the items I'm going to discuss with you. I'm going to explain for you. We will discuss them in the following minutes, step by step. And then there is a lesson plan. This is not for students, of course. This is for teachers to be applied to any lesson, the past simple or whatever. The past simple tense, from the very beginning, and the first thing to know about what is the meaning of the past simple. The past means any point of time before now. This is a past. 1 minute ago, 1 second ago, 1 year, 100 years ago, this is called a past. So we can say the past simple indicates an action that started and ended, completed, wholly in the past. At a specific point of time or no specific point of time or an open time, but all in the past. It is ended, yes. It is complete, yes. In the past, it's completed in the past, yes. It was completed, and it has no relation at all with the present. And so we can say the past simple tense assured that the verb finished completely before now, nearer or further in time, whether it's a near past or it's a further past. So again, we can see the simple past does not assure the duration. Duration, what do you mean by the duration? How long the verb takes? It doesn't assure the duration. No, it assures the idea of when and when the verb started, when did the verb start, and when it ended, not how long did it take in the past. So what assures the duration of the verb is the progressive tense, not a simple tense. Progressive tenses in English assure the duration, how long verbs take, but for the past tenses, they give other details like when the verb started, when it ended, who did, what happened, like that. For example, they studied French last year, but they didn't study German. Look at the verb studied, it ended in ed. This is a past simple tense. They didn't study. This is a past simple, but a past simple in a negative form, did not plus the base form of the verb. Another idea to be added here, sometimes we call the past simple, it's a preterite. Preterite. Preterite is a term of a Latin. It has a Latin origin. Sometimes we find the final letter E at the very end, and sometimes it doesn't. It is not found there. So in all cases, we say preterite. Preterite means passed by, before, now, an action in the past, and so on. It is abbreviated, or it has a short form of PRET or PRT. So this is what do we mean by the past simple. A past simple, an action happened and completed wholly in the past, no relation at all with the present. It doesn't matter at all about the duration of the verb, how long the verb took in the past, but when it started, when it ended, like that. So this is the timeline of the past simple we have in the middle. This is the present time now, and before now, this is the past, all the past, and after now, this is the future. The verb started at the green point and ended at the red point, all from the very beginning till the very end, the verb started and ended in the past. It ended, completed, wholly, completely before reaching the present time or before reaching now. So after that, the second main idea to know about the past simple is what are the uses of the past simple tense. We have three main uses of the past simple. Number one, the past simple is used to express or to indicate a state or emotion, a state of mind or feeling or emotion like that. And here, verb to be is most famous. Like for example, I was happy yesterday when I saw my friend. Look, I was. The verb was is a past form of is and am in the present simple. And here we find verb to be, or we use the verb to be because verb to be here is used to express an emotion, being happy or sad or whatever. This is called an emotion or a feeling. When I saw my friend, so also is the past simple verb of the verb see. The first form or the base form is see. So number one, to express an emotion, state of mind maybe, and here verb to be is often used. Second, verb the past simple is used also to express a habit in the past, and be sure to understand that habit in the past means it's not found now, it's no longer be practiced now. Like when I say, for example, I always rode a bike when I was a child. Look at always, this is a verb of frequency used to give a habit or to express a habit, repeated action in the past. And rode, this is the verb from, this is the second form of the verb ride. When I was either a second form or a past form of the verb to be, that is am or is. And remember here, we use the adverbs of frequency, like always, like, for example, usually, often, every, these adverbs in order to give the idea of habit, to give a repetition of the verb, because a habit means the verb is repeated. Here, this is a past habit. The verb was repeated in the past, but it has no relation with the present. This means I no longer ride a bike now. I'm no longer a child now. Okay, so this what do we mean by a habit in the past? Number three, the past tense is used to indicate past facts. And we mean by past facts, they are not believed in now. They are not true now. They are proved to be not correct, or they are proved to be incorrect now. Like, for example, when we say scientists thought that Mother Earth had a round shape. Scientists thought this is the best form of the verb think, and had the best form of the verb have. This idea or this sentence means they do not think that, scientists do not think that now, and Mother Earth does not have a round shape, rather it has an oval shape. So for the uses of the past tense, we have three uses of the past tense to give an expression or to explain state of mind or emotion in the past, and also to express a habit in the past. And here we use the adverbs of frequency, like always, like often, like rarely, and whatever. And also we have the past symbol is used to indicate past facts. And past facts means they are not found now, they are not believed now, they are proved to be untrue now. How do we form the past simple tense? We form the past simple tense. We know verbs in English, all verbs in English have three cases or have three forms. Form one or verb one or shape one, this is the present simple. And form two or verb two, this is the past simple. Form three or past three or verb three, this is the past participle we use in the perfect tenses. Today we are to talk about verb two or form two of the verb. And verbs in English are of two types: regular verbs or irregular ones. Regular verbs or irregular ones. Regular verbs simply add ed or d final for the second form or for the past simple. When we add d, when we add ed, we add only final d at the suffix if the verb base, if the base form of the verb ends in the letter e, like when we say move, moved, final e, just add d and cancel the e with the ed. And if the verb, regular verb, does not end in ed, in e, add completely ed, like watch, watched, like want, wanted, like wash, washed, and others. So regular verbs simply add ed if there is no e final in the verb, or d if there is an e final in the verb. And remember, if the verb, the regular verb, ends in the letter y, ends in the letter y, preceded by a consonant, preceded by a consonant, consonant like s, like d, t, l, m, r, n, like this. Change the y into I before adding ed, like carry will be carried, carry, carried. But if the y is preceded, and I mean by preceded, what is before y is a vowel, you just add ed. And let me remind you with the vowels. Vowels in English, mainly they are five. Mainly they are five. A, E, I, O, U. Suppose a verb ends in the letter Y, and before Y there is any one of the vowels, A, E, I, O, U, just add ed. But any other one, any other letter, change the Y into I, then add ed, like carry, carried. Verbs ending in a vowel, verbs ending in a vowel between two consonants. You can say the last three letters of the verb. The last three letters of the verb. Take the following order: consonant, vowel, consonant. Consonant, vowel, consonant. We mainly double the last consonant before adding ed, like stop, final p, p, p. P is the consonant. And look at T, O, P. The last three letters, T, O, P. Consonant, vowel, consonant. Consonant, vowel, consonant. And this syllable is, and it's a stressed syllable. Just double the last consonant before adding ed. So if the last three letters of the verb, and this is the last three letters form a syllable, and the syllable at the same time is stressed, and I mean by stress here, we pronounce it and we say it, we utter it strongly, double the last consonant before adding ed, before adding ed. So the simple past is formed by the second form of the verb, the second shape of the verb, and we here are talking about the regular verbs that add only d if there is final e, or ed as a whole if there is no final e within the base form of the verb. But here we have another type of verbs that is called the irregular verbs. We do not have any specific rule to be applied to the irregular verbs. Rather, they are kept by heart. We learn them well. We memorize them. Like, for example, come, came, catch, couch, caught, see, saw, and others. Verbs in the past simple tense do not need to agree or to match in number with the subject. That is to say, the verb all the time has one shape, and the subject, whether the subject is singular or plural, first person, second person, third person. So I can say, for example, I watched TV, I watched, he watched TV, they watch it, we watch it. Look at watching. The verb is still the same form, the same shape, no change. Whether we have singular I or we have plural we, whether we have first person I or second person you or third person he or they. So the verb in the past simple, the verb in the past simple do not have to match in number or to agree in number with the subject precedes it. That's to say, whether the subject is singular or plural, first person, second person, third person, it doesn't matter. The verb is still the same. The verb still has one shape. Now we are to move to a new idea about the past simple. What is the helping verb here, and how can we change a verb in the past into a negative form? We have only one main helping verb. That's verb to do. Verb to do in the past simple is did. Verb to do in the past simple, second form, is did. It is used mainly in questions. It is used in negative. It is used to emphasize an idea also in the past. So I can say, as for example, as a question. Did you study English yesterday? Did you study English yesterday? This is as a question. Negative. I didn't ride my bike. She didn't read English well, for example. And as for to assure or to emphasize an idea, I did write the lesson. I did write, sorry, the lesson. I did write the lesson. Here we use did to emphasize the idea or the information included in the sentence. And remember, my friends, that when we use did or didn't, they must be followed by infinitive forms of the verb. They must be followed by infinitive forms of the verb. So we can say, for example, did you travel? Did travel. Did travel a base form. I didn't waste my time watching fast comedy. Didn't waste. Didn't waste. Did not or didn't, and a base form of the verb, that is waste. Okay? For the negative form is any verb. There is a main idea, general idea about the negative form in the past. Any verb in the past simple is changed into negative by adding did not or didn't as a short form plus the base form of the verb. Did not or didn't before the verb, then the base form of the verb. So I can say, for example, mended, didn't mend, wrote, didn't write. For example, studied, didn't study, and so on. So using did or did not, whether in negative, in question, or to emphasize an idea in a sentence, use base forms after. After that, we come to the pronunciation of the ed final. As I have said before, most verbs in English are regular, and they simply add d or ed final for the second form or for the past simple. But how do we hear the final ed? This is a suffix, of course. How do we hear? How do we pronounce the final ed? We can hear it. We can pronounce it in three different shapes. It can be pronounced as id or t or d. Id, t, d. How can we know that? And how can we differentiate among them? Simply, here we are talking about consonant, not letters. And I mean by consonant, what do we hear at the very end of the verb? What do we hear at the very end of the verb? So as the verb, the base form of the verb ends in the consonant t, that is the letter T, or d, that is the letter D, pronounce or say or utter the ad final as id, like when you say want, wanted, need, needed, and so on. So final t or d, change ad pronunciation into ed. The second way, or the second shape of ed final, as we pronounce it as t, t, t. And here, we can say that consonant in English, all consonants in English, consonants are letters away from A, E, I, O, U. These are vowels. The others are called consonants. A, E, I, O, U. These are vowels. The others like P, K, L, M, N, R, S, whatever, these are called consonant. Consonants in English are of two types, voiced and voiceless. Voiced and voiceless. What do we mean by voiceless and voiced? We can hear the final ed in a verb, in the past form of a verb, as t, 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 if the verb, the base form of the verb, ends in a voiceless consonant. And what do I mean by voiceless consonant? Voiceless means when we pronounce, when we produce, when we give out the consonant, the vocal apparatus, the vocal cords do not vibrate. They do not move. You can feel it if you put the thumb, the tip of your thumb on your throat when producing the sound, like p, p, that is the letter P. K, k, that is the letter K. Sh, that is the letter SH letters. Ch, ch, that are the letters CH. F, letters GH. F, letters TH. S, letters double S. S again. And X, that is the letter X. So you have like P, helped, K, looked, Sh, washed, Sh, watched, F, left, S, kissed, X, fixed, and other. So if the verb, the base form of the verb, ends in a voiceless consonant like P, K, Sh, Ch, F, F, S, X, these just ed, utter, pronounce the ed as t, 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 helped, looked, kissed, fixed, and others. But if here with the t, there is no vibration of the vocal cords when we put the tip of the thumbnail on the throat when producing the sound, because the airflow goes out freely. No vibration of the vocal cords, no movement of the vocal cords, but they can vibrate. They can vibrate when we produce other sounds, which are called other consonants, which are called voiced consonant. What are these? These are L, that is L letter, N letter, like N letter, R, that is R, J, G, V, Z, W, Y, Z, like call, called, clean, cleaned, offer, offered, damage, damaged, love, loved. Someone would say, love ended in E. No, I said before, we are talking about what do we hear, not what do we write. When I see love, the last sound I hear is v. So the ed here will be pronounced as d. Use. We hear S here as z. Z. So also ed as d. Follow, followed. Enjoy, yeah sound, enjoyed. Amaze, amaze. The verb here ends in E also, but what is the last consonant we hear? What is the last sound we hear? Amaze, z sound. So the final ed pronounced as d. So if the verb, the base form of the verb ends in the consonant T or D, letter T or D, pronounce ed as id. If the base form of the verb ends a voiceless consonant like P, K, SH, CH, whatever, pronounced as t, t. And if the base form of the verb ends in a voice, the consonant like l, n, r, l, n, r, g, v, z, or s or v, like this, pronounced as d, d, d. So we have ed, t, and d. I hope you understand up to now, and it is easy for you up to now. But let's move to another idea. How do we form a question using the past simple? Of course, we know that we have two types of questions. We have yes or no questions, and we have WH questions. And as I have explained fully before in the present simple how to form a complete question in English. It is the same way now, but we will go simply for a question that we answer yes or no. We start with the helping verb. All the time we start with the helping verb. And the helping verb here is dead. Remember again that when we use dead, we use a base form of the verb. Like, for example, did you sleep well? Yes, I did. No, I didn't. Did you write your homework? Yes, I did. No, I didn't. Did they buy a new house? Yes, they did. No, they didn't. Did she run across, for example, along, for example, the track? Yes, she did. No, she didn't. So we use did as a helping verb, then the subject of the sentence, then the base form of the verb, then any complement or an object of the sentence, the question mark. My answer is yes. Yes plus the subject plus did, or no plus the subject plus did not as a short form. Yes, I did. No, I didn't. Yes, they did. No, they didn't. Yes, she did. No, she didn't. And for the WH questions, it is the same way. We use the WH word at the very beginning and then complete the helping verb, then the subject, then the verb, the base form of the verb, then the complement, then the question mark. When we ask about specific information, for example, I ask about something, I use what? What did you do yesterday? For example, I say, I wrote some letters. For example, I ask about a place. Where were you 2 days ago? I was, for example, in London. Okay, this is a place. Who who did you travel with? I traveled with my friend, like that. So according to the information I'm asking about, so I ask about someone, I say who, I ask about a place, I say where, I ask about something, I say what, I ask about the time, I say when, I ask about a number, I say how many, about a quantity or an amount, I say how much. I ask about inequality, like for example, the length, I say how long, the height, I say how high, and the length, for example, the high, how tall or how long, like that. So these are questions for information. After that, we have verb to be, and I get for you verb to be because verb to be is an irregular verb. Many verb to be in the past simple has two shapes, was and were. Was with singular and were with plural subject. So I can say I was, he was, she was, it was, and for were, we were, you were, and they were. If I wanted to change into negative, even if it is the base, even if it is the main verb of the sentence, was changed to wasn't, were into weren't, was not or wasn't, were not or weren't. So I can say I wasn't, I was not or I wasn't, he was not or he wasn't, we were not or we weren't, you were not or you weren't. So I can say, for example, if I wanted to get a question on interrogative form, I will say, was he at school yesterday? Yes, he was. No, he wasn't. Were they at home 2 days ago? Yes, they were. No, they weren't. And so on. So verb to be, was or were, was with any singular, except for you, for example, of course, pronoun, and were for any plural, adding you if it meant also a singular form. Up to now, I hope it is easy for you. Now we have to go through verb to have. Verb to have is an irregular verb, and it is very easy to deal with. Verb to have only has one shape, one form in the past, that is had, with any pronoun, whether singular, plural, first, second, or third person, it's had. So I say I had, you had, he had, they had, we had. Any form, any subject, singular or plural. But to change it into negative as any as any as any past verb, past simple verb did not plus the infinitive form. So I can see had, it is to be changed into didn't have. So I had a car, I didn't have a car. You had, for example, an umbrella, you didn't have an umbrella. We say we had dinner, we didn't have dinner. So if we change it into a question, let's say, I had a car. Did I have a car? Yes, I had. No, I. Yes, I did. No, I didn't. They had, for example, they had a lot of money. Did they have a lot of money? Did they have money? Did they have a lot of money? Did they have much money? Yes, they did. No, they didn't. And so on. She had, for example, a beautiful dress. Did she have a beautiful dress? Yes, she had. Yes, she did. No, she didn't. So verb to have has only one form in the past simple, that's had, and to change it into negative, didn't have. To change it into a question, did, plus the subject, plus the base form have, plus the complement of the sentence. Answer: yes, I did, you did, he did, they did. No, I didn't, they didn't, we didn't, whatever, according to the subject. Then we come to the key words or key adverbs or some adverbs and phrases of time to be used in the past simple. Here, I have divided them into three parts or three kinds. Some adverbs or phrases show a definite time, exact time of the verb. Some give an open period of time of the verb, and some to show frequency or to show habits in the past. So the verb, as I said before, a verb in the past simple may have a definite time or no definite time, or I can say an open time. For a definite time, we can use words like yesterday, last, ago, in plus a period of time, like in 1919, in 2020, and so on, a past period of time. They indicate an exact time or a definite time of the verb. So it's a completed form. Like when I say it was cold, so I didn't go out for a picnic. It was cold, so I didn't go out for a picnic. Maybe yesterday, 2 days ago, last, for example, weekend, like that. Then we have some phrases. They give no definite time. They give open period of time, like in the past, at any time in the past, once, at any day, one day, at any day in the past, or on any day in the past, once upon a time, and in ancient time, any time before now. So we can say these phrases give no definite time, no exact time, but they show the past action. They show that the action is in the past or was in the past. Like, for example, in the past, people fetched water from wells, so they didn't have water on taps. In the past, people fetched water from wells, as they didn't have water on taps. Here in the past, at any point of time in the past, not exactly a time by itself. So this is open past. And then we have some adverbs of frequency, like always, usually, often, sometimes, rarely, hardly ever, seldom, and never. These adverbs are called adverbs of frequency. We have used them before. With the present simple, they are used also with the past simple to express or to give habits in the past, repeated actions in the past. Like when I was a child, I usually read fairy tales. I usually read fairy tales. This means that was my habit in the past. Now I'm no longer a child. I'm not a child. I'm grown up now. And at the same time, I do not read fairy tales. I read any other books or any other tales, not fairy tales exactly. So it was my habit in the past, but now it's not found. So adverbs and phrases of time with the past simple are of three types. Some that get exact or definite period of time, like yesterday or last week ago. Some that give an open time in the past or no definite time in the past, like once in one day. Some that give frequency or give repetition or show repetition of the verb in the past to express habits in the past, like usually, always, often, or often, and so on. Then I give you a sample verb. This is a verb. This is an irregular. This is an irregular verb. Verb watch, like in affirmative, in a negative, in an interrogative. I watched the film. Didn't watch. Did not write the base form. Then the interrogative. Did I watch a film? Yes, I did. No, I didn't. You watched the film. You didn't watch a film. Did you watch a film? Yes, you did. No, you didn't. He watched the film. He didn't watch a film. Did he watch a film? No. Yes, he did, or no, he didn't. She watched a film. She didn't watch a film. Did she watch a film? Yes, she did, or no, she didn't. The others go like this. The main idea here, as I assured before, the verb in the affirmative form does not uh, doesn't go or doesn't agree in number with the subject before. It has only one shape, one form with all subjects with a singular or plural with the first, second, or third person pronouns. In the negative, in all negative forms, if we change a verb, a past form or past verb form into a negative form, did not plus the base form of the verb. For the interrogative, as I said before, we get the helping verb plus the subject plus the base form of the verb plus any complement, then the question mark. For the answer, yes, we say yes plus the subject plus did, or no plus the subject plus did not or didn't. Here is another example, but with an irregular verb that is there to write. Write in the second form is wrote. So it will be wrote all the time. I, he, she, they, whatever for whatever subject before, it will be wrote. And at the same time, in a negative form, it will be didn't write with whatever subject before, no change, didn't write. And in the interrogative, did plus the subject plus the base form plus the object or the complement of the sentence. I will take an example. For example, he wrote a letter. For the negative, he didn't write a letter. For a question, did he write a letter? For an answer, yes, he did. No, he did not or didn't. Here, I told you before that the past simple is used to express an habit in the past. Yes, it is one use of the past simple. And I give you some adverbs of frequency, like always, like usually, often, whatever, to express also the habit in the past. But also we can express habits in the past using used to. There is a special form. This is a special form to give a past action or a past habit used to. Used to means accustomed to means usually did in the past, like that. So what about here the meaning of used to? Used to is used to express or habits in the past. What do you mean by habits? As I said before, these are repeated, continually repeated, usually repeated, regularly repeated habits in the past. But remember again, these habits in the past are no longer in the present. They are not found in the present. We do not practice in the present. Like, I say, for example, I used to play football 2 years ago. I used to play football. This means now I don't play football. Now in the present, I do not play football. It was my habit before, but now I have another habit, not playing football. I may play soccer, I may play tennis, I may stop playing, play computer games, maybe like that. What about the affirmative form of used to? We use used to followed by the base form of the verb. Remember, we have here to. The preposition to in English mostly take a base form after. So used to plus the base form of the verb. Like, my sister used to have a diet. This means she doesn't have a diet now. This means she doesn't have a diet now. And remember that we use have as a base form after used to. And if we wanted to change it into negative, it's a past simple form. So simply, we negate it, we change it into negative by adding did not or didn't before use. So it will be used to will be didn't use to plus an infinitive form. Didn't use to plus an infinitive form. Now say, for example, my sister didn't used to have a diet. The previous sentence, my sister didn't used to have a diet. For the question, it's a past form verb, so we use the helping verb. Did before use, did plus a base form of the verb. So use to, did, use to. I say, for example, did your sister use to have a diet? Did your sister use to have a diet? And remember when we use that, we use the verb in the base form that is used. Yes, she did, or no, she didn't. So we can say, what about, or how can we express habits in the past two ways now? And after some time, I will give you a third way, two ways up to now. We can use the adverbs of frequency like always, often, usually, whatever, with the before the verb, before the main verb of the sentence. And we can use the expression used to. In all cases, el past habit is no longer in the present. Used to as a form is followed by verb infinitive. And to change it into negative, simply add did not or didn't before used to and use it in an infinitive form. So used to change into didn't use to. And it can be used in an interrogative sentence, easy way, like did your sister used to have a diet? So we can say yes, she did, or no, she didn't. This is for used to. We have a third way. We have a third way to express habits in the past, but we are to compare between this way, that is would plus the infinitive form to express a habit in the past, and used to plus infinitive form to express a habit in the past. What is the difference? Used to plus infinitive and would plus infinitive both are used to express past habits, but we have some differences between them. What are the differences between used to and would? I can say, for example, I used to write a lot of emails. This means now I do not write any emails. I would write a lot of emails 2 years ago. I would write a lot of emails 2 years ago. This means I do not write emails now, any emails now. So in both cases, would plus infinitive form or base form, used to plus infinitive form or base form, in both cases, these expressions are used to give past habits. But what are the differences among them, between them? First of all, as I have said before, that we have two types of verbs, static verbs and action or dynamic verbs. Used to can be used with action verbs or dynamic verbs or movement verbs, and also with static verbs. No difference. Static verbs that give a state of being or express an emotion, state of mind, like that. They have no motion, they have no action. Okay, and the action verbs are dynamic verbs, the verbs that have that express movement, like run, go, play, read, write, repeat, eat, whatever. So used to is used with both action and static verbs. I say, for example, I can say he used to be an officer in the police. Verb to be is a static verb. we can use used to. He used to run. Run is a dynamic verb was used to. That's right. Okay, but look at would. Would can be used only with action verbs. Only with action verbs. Like we say, he would buy a new car every year. True sentence. And look, every year. The time mentioned here and the time is important here. Time important to be mentioned. In the past, he would feel lonely. No, this is not okay. He used to be lonely, but would no, because feel is the static verb, and the static verbs are not okay to be used with the verb would. And remember that what here is helping verb is followed by an infinitive form. We cannot be used with the states or static verbs. The verb feel, static verbs like verbs of senses, verbs of feeling, verbs of emotions, verbs of appreciation, verbs of ownership, possession, other verbs. These verbs they give a state of being, they give a state of mind, they describe a feeling. These all or emotions, these all cannot be used with would. Only with used to, yes, it's okay to be used. So what feel lonely is not okay, but used to be lonely, yes, okay. With used to, it's not important to mention the period of time. So I can say when I was a child, for example, I used to cry a lot, for example. I used to cry a lot without any time, but would no. We have to state the time. I can say, for example, in the past, I would read one story, for example, each week or each weekend, like that. So we have to state the period of time with would, and it's not important to be stated with used to. Used to is informal. We can use in everyday language. We can use in spoken language. But would is more formal. That is to say, we can use in writing. We can use more in writing other than spoken language. And for a negative form, as I have said before, used to is a simple past verb form. Didn't use to. Didn't verb in the base form used, then to, then the infinitive form. But for what, as I said before, minutes, that would is helping verb, so it would be full. It would take not after, so would not, or wouldn't, plus an infinitive form. I wouldn't study. I wouldn't read. They wouldn't go. She wouldn't play, and so on. If we have any adverb of frequency, adverb that show a habit, we use it before used to, because used to is the main verb. Used here is the main verb. So I usually used to. So we put usually, often, rarely, sometimes, whatever, before used to. But afterward, because would is helping. Afterward, I would often study math. So what is the difference? What are the differences between used to and would? Used to can be used with action, dynamic verbs, and static verbs at the same time, but would only with the action or dynamic or movement verbs. We don't need to state the period of time at the time of the verb with used to, but we do need to state the period of time with would. Used to is more informal, to be used in spoken language, in conversation, but would is more formal, to be used in writing, mostly in writing. And for a negative form, used to, didn't use to plus infinitive form, would not, or wouldn't plus an infinitive or base form. For using the verbs of frequency, we use them before used to, usually used to, often used to, rarely used to, but for would, afterward, because would is helping. An auxiliary verb, so would often, would usually, would rarely, would sometimes, and so on. Hope it is clear up to now. Here, I give you the most common irregular verbs mostly used. like verb to be was, aware, become, became, begin, began, break, broke, get, got, read, read, ring, rang, run, ran. First form and second form, verb one and verb two, present simple and past simple. We have three columns, some verbs. This is a good number to be used or must be used in writing. So these verbs do not have any specific rule to be applied. These verbs are memorized. They do not have any other idea to be said about. Here I give you some assignment. The one to the left here, I give you the form of the verb in a base form, and you have to complete the sentence. Complete the sentence using a correct form of the verb. Like for example, when did she write? I think when did she write the letter to her granny? She wrote it 2 days ago. When did she, the subject, and then the verb in the base form. When we answer the question, we cancel it and change the verb into the second form, so it becomes she wrote. Alice not drink, a form of the verb in the past simple negative form, so it will be didn't. So it will be didn't, she didn't, or Alice didn't drink milk in the morning. Drank, she drank. When we cancel did or did not to change the verb into the past, and drank here is an irregular verb. The first form is drink and second form is drank. Go on through the 7 sentences in the same way. To the right, we have a mix of exercises. Like for example, we have some verbs at the very top. Meet, the second form met, like go, went, collect, collected, paint, painted. And then you are to classify them, the regular and the irregular. For example, for the regular verbs, you will write collect, you will write paint, work, invent. For the irregular, you will write met and go and drive. That's met, went, drove, like that. And then number 3, change the sentences into negative and interrogative. Negative form did not plus the base form of the verb. Interrogative did plus the subject plus the base form plus a complement plus the question mark. And the number 4, complete the sentence with the past form of the verb. See, I didn't make. My friend spent or spended them. Wallace, his mother a beautiful present, gave. Give, the past form is gave, and complete the others. Then you have a fill in the blanks. You have some blank up, arrive, take, be, break, call, see, decide, notice, cross, and go. You will choose the correct verb meaning and then put the verb in the correct form. Yeah, like for example, last weekend was, it is be up, but I will take verb to be. In the second form, it is was, because last weekend is a singular. It was very funny. And so on. Go on the rest of the exercise. After that, you have some choose the correct answer. Like for example, I football yesterday. Remember, yesterday is one adverb of time of the past simple. So you say played. That is a, because why? Preceded by a vowel. Just we add ed. Go on until we finish number 20. These are 20 sentences, and then we have to write some sentences, and we have a column of verbs. They are all in the correct forms, but take the meaning, the verb that matches the meaning of the sentence. Like I say, for example, Al-Miza played badminton yesterday. So it will be played, jumped, cried, locked, lived, did, like that. I hope you enjoy. I hope you enjoy my lesson, my friends. See you next time. Wish for